My wife, Chloe, believed a lie that came straight from her best friend's mouth, that I'd cheated on her. That one lie tore us apart. And by the time the truth finally surfaced, she sure wasn't ready for what I did next. So here I am, 36 years old, living in New York, and newly divorced. Chloe and I had been together 7 years, married for the last 3. Now that I look back, I can't help but think I should have seen the crash coming from a mile away. The red flags? They were waving from day one. But I kept brushing them off, mostly because I thought I loved her. Or at least I wanted to believe I did. But the biggest crack in our relationship? That had a name, Brooke, Chloe's so-called best friend. You ever meet someone and instantly know their trouble? That was Brooke. Loud, full of herself, and always acting like the spotlight belonged to her. The first time I met her, I felt like she was judging me, like she was scanning for ammo she could use later. Chloe, though, was completely blind to it. In her eyes, Brooke was family, a loyal friend from college who'd stuck by her through every breakup and meltdown. I figured, alright, if she matters to Chloe, I'll put up with her. But Brooke had a real talent for getting under your skin. Things really started unraveling when we got engaged. I popped the question 4 years into dating. We were already living together, and it just felt like the natural next step. Chloe was over the moon, and honestly, so was I. Then Brooke started inserting herself. It began with little jabs. She said our wedding colors were boring. Whatever, not worth arguing about. Then she kicked up a fuss about the menu, saying we had to offer vegan options because half the guests would probably want that. Reality check, 2 vegans tops. Then came the kicker, she wanted to walk down the aisle ahead of the bridesmaids. Yeah, you heard that right. Her reason? I've been there through every heartbreak, every major moment in Chloe's life. This day isn't just about the marriage, it's about honoring the people who stuck by her. At first, I thought it was some kind of bad joke. Who even asks for that? But Chloe just sat there nodding along, clearly flustered and unsure how to respond. I could see her slowly giving in. That's when I stepped in. I told Chloe, plain and simple, this is our wedding, not some stage show for Brooke to soak up attention. Your sisters are already your maids of honor. That should be enough. Chloe got flustered. Defensive. You're blowing this out of proportion, she said. Meanwhile, Brooke looked at me like I'd insulted her whole existence. Wow, she said, I didn't realize your fiancé was such a control freak. That cut deep. But instead of backing me up, Chloe just shrugged it off. Later she said, it's just one little thing. If it makes her happy, what's the big deal? And just like that, Brooke got her moment. She strutted down the aisle like she was the bride. I saw my parents exchange glances from the front row, and all I could do was clench my jaw and fake a smile for the camera. I told myself, once we're married, this kind of stuff will fade away. Boy, was I wrong. Instead of stepping back, Brooke became even more involved. Every time Chloe and I tried to make weekend plans, guess who magically got included? I already invited Brooke, Chloe would say. Or, Brooke thinks we should try this other place instead. It got to where we couldn't make a simple decision without running it by her unofficial third wheel. I tried bringing it up gently. I told Chloe, look, I'm glad you have someone you're close to. But I feel like Brooke's just too involved. Can we maybe set a few boundaries? But Chloe bristled again. She's my best friend, she said. I can't just cut her off. You don't understand everything she's done for me. Maybe I didn't understand. I wasn't around for her college years or the messy breakups or whatever history they had. But I knew one thing for sure, Brooke didn't respect me or my place in the marriage. And Chloe was too caught up in their friendship to see that. At first, I wanted to believe Brooke wasn't doing it on purpose. Maybe she just didn't know when to back off. But deep down, I knew better. She didn't like me. Period. And the more she inserted herself, the clearer that became. I should have stood up for myself sooner. Maybe I thought it would start an unnecessary fight, or maybe I didn't want to risk driving a wedge between me and Chloe. But staying quiet? That was on me. I basically handed Brooke a free pass to meddle in our life. And by the time I realized how deep she'd sunk her claws in, it was too late. About a year and a half into the marriage, things finally felt like they'd settled. Chloe and I had our routine, work, dinner dates, binging shows on weekends. Nothing fancy, just comfortable. Then, one Friday evening, Brooke came crashing back into our lives. Chloe and I were in the kitchen, planning tacos and a movie night. I was halfway through chopping onions when the doorbell rang. Chloe went to get it, and not 10 seconds later I heard Brooke's voice, crying, no, wailing, like the world had just ended. I leaned around the corner, and there she was, hanging on to Chloe like she was about to drown. She had a duffel bag slung over her shoulder, and her mascara was streaked halfway down her cheeks. He left me, she sobbed. I can't do this by myself. Chloe, looking completely panicked, led her inside and gave me this wide-eyed look that screamed, not now. I just stood there holding the knife, wondering what kind of emotional storm had just landed in our living room. Brooke flopped down on the couch and started unloading her latest drama. Her boyfriend, Tyler, had apparently dumped her over text. Said they weren't a good match. Brooke, of course, claimed she was the perfect girlfriend and blamed it all on him for being emotionally unavailable. Do you have anywhere to go tonight? Chloe asked, her voice soft but her hands fidgeting like crazy. Brooke glanced toward me, then looked down at her lap. No, she whispered. I can't go to my parents, they'll just say I told you so. And everyone else is busy. I didn't know where else to go. I could already tell where this was going, and I wasn't thrilled about it. Just as I expected, Chloe turned to me with that look she gets when she's about to ask for something big. Would it be alright if Brooke stayed with us for a little while, she asked. Just until she gets back on her feet. What was I supposed to say to that? No, your best friend can't stay here even though she's clearly going through a rough time. That would have made me the bad guy. So I forced a smile and gave a small nod. Yeah, sure. That's fine. At first, I really did try to be understanding. I mean, Brooke had just had her heart broken. I get it, breakups can be brutal. For the first few days, I kept my distance and let Chloe take care of her. But by the end of the week, it was obvious this wasn't going to be a short visit. What started as a few nights was quickly turning into who knows how long. Brooke hadn't just moved in, she was taking over. The guest room that Chloe and I had always kept tidy turned into a full-blown mess. There were clothes tossed everywhere, on the floor, the bed, hanging over the chair. Empty coffee cups and takeout containers stacked up on the nightstand. It looked like a teenager's bedroom after a meltdown, only Brooke wasn't a teenager, she was 35. And she basically camped out in the living room, glued to reality shows at full blast, stretched out on the couch like she owned it. Twice, I walked in from work to find her in her pajamas, lying there with a family-sized bag of chips, halfway through some ridiculous dating show. She didn't even bother to look up, just mumbled, hey, between bites. The kitchen wasn't any better. Now, Brooke wasn't exactly a whiz in the kitchen, but that didn't stop her from treating it like her own personal test kitchen. She'd use every pot and pan we had, but never once cleaned up. I'd wake up in the morning to a sink overflowing with dishes and half-eaten food left on the counter like a buffet no one asked for. One night, I finally brought it up to Chloe. I tried to be gentle. Look, I know Brooke's going through a lot, I said, but she's treating our home like it's some kind of extended stay hotel. It's not fair to us. Chloe looked conflicted, rubbing her arm like she does when she's nervous. I know it's a lot, she said, but she doesn't have anywhere else to go. She just needs a little more time. A little more time? I asked. It's already been 3 weeks. How much longer are we supposed to do this? Chloe didn't have a good answer. I'll talk to her, she said. But when she finally did, it didn't go the way I'd hoped. Brooke played the victim card immediately. Her voice got all shaky and dramatic. I'm sorry if I'm such a burden, she said, blinking back tears. If it's that big of a deal, I'll just leave. And of course, Chloe jumped in to comfort her. No, that's not what we meant. We just want you to feel supported. It drove me crazy. Brooke knew exactly how to tug at Chloe's heartstrings, and every time, Chloe fell right into it. The last straw came about a month and a half into her stay. One Saturday morning, I stepped into the backyard to grab some tools for a DIY project I'd been working on. And there, scattered across the patio, were my power drill, saw, and a bunch of other tools. Brooke was sitting on the lawn, surrounded by random pieces of wood, painting them in these wild neon colors. What is all this? I asked, motioning to the chaos. She looked up, completely unfazed. It's for my therapy, she said. My counselor said I should do something creative to process my feelings. I blinked. You went through my tools without asking. She just shrugged. I didn't think you'd care. That was it for me. I went straight inside and found Chloe in the kitchen. She needs to go, I said, firm and calm. I'm not asking anymore. Chloe stared at me, caught off guard. What happened? She's treating our home like it's her personal playground, I said. I've tried to be patient, but this just isn't working. She has to leave. Chloe sighed and rubbed her temples, clearly stressed. All right, she said. I'll talk to her again. But this time, I didn't wait for Chloe to handle it. I sat down with both of them and laid everything out. Brooke, I said, we've done our best to be here for you. But it's been a month and a half, and we can't keep this up. You need to start finding another place to stay. She didn't take it well. Her voice rose and her eyes flashed. You're really kicking me out when I'm at my lowest, she snapped. Some friend you are. I stayed calm. I'm not kicking you out today. But it's time to figure out your next steps. We've given you plenty of time. Chloe looked uneasy, like she wasn't sure which side to take. But for once, she didn't defend Brooke. Within 2 weeks, Brooke packed up and left, storming out with one last jab about how I was controlling and Chloe deserved better. As she drove away, I felt this huge weight lift off my chest. The house finally felt like home again, but deep down, I knew that wasn't the end of it. The real trouble didn't start until a month later, on a random Saturday. Chloe had gone out for brunch with Brooke, like she usually did. I didn't love that they still hung out, but I'd learned to stop bringing it up. It wasn't worth the argument. Brooke was always going to be part of Chloe's life, no matter how I felt. So I stayed home and knocked out some errands, nothing major. Grocery run, laundry, a bit of work in the yard. By the time Chloe got back, I was in the kitchen unloading the groceries. I greeted her like I always did, but something felt off. She barely acknowledged me, just mumbled a quiet, "Hey," and went straight to the bedroom. I stood there for a moment, holding a bag of apples, wondering if I'd done something wrong. Maybe she was just tired. I shrugged and went back to putting the groceries away. But the rest of the day, she stayed distant, really distant. She barely made eye contact, gave me short, clipped answers, and kept fiddling with her phone. I asked her a few times if something was bothering her, but she kept brushing me off with, "I'm fine." Clearly, she wasn't. I figured maybe Brooke had unloaded some of her usual drama and Chloe was just processing. But that night, things got even weirder. After dinner, which she hardly touched, Chloe went to bed early. When I came in later, she was curled up way on the edge of the bed, pretending to be asleep. I just laid there, staring at the ceiling, trying to make sense of it all. The next morning, I decided I'd had enough of the guessing game. "Chloe," I said, "what's going on?" You've been acting strange since you got back from brunch. She hesitated, not looking at me. Then, finally, she said, I need to ask you something. And I need you to be honest. Okay, I said, feeling this tight knot twist in my gut. What is it? Chloe finally turned to look at me, and the expression on her face stopped me cold. She looked hurt, but more than that, she looked angry. Really angry. Were you with someone else yesterday? She asked. I blinked, caught completely off guard. What? No. What are you talking about? Her voice sharpened. Brooke said she saw you. In a parking lot. I just stared at her, confused. Saw me doing what? She said you were in your car, Chloe continued, making out with some woman. I almost laughed. I mean, it was so out of left field I thought she had to be joking. But when I looked at her and saw how serious she was, my disbelief started boiling into frustration. Chloe, that's ridiculous. I wasn't with anyone. I was grocery shopping. She described your car, she snapped. Said you were wearing that brown jacket. She even said it was at the strip mall near Main Street. And that's when my heart dropped. Because yeah, I was at that strip mall. That's where the grocery store is, I said. I was buying milk and bread, not making out with anyone. Chloe crossed her arms and glared at me like she was daring me to keep lying. Then why would Brooke say she saw you? That right there, that question. That's what set me off. Not, are you sure she's mistaken? Not, could it be a misunderstanding? No. Just, why would she lie? Like it didn't even occur to her that Brooke could lie. I don't know, Chloe, I said, my voice rising. Why don't you ask her? Because I didn't do anything wrong. But she wasn't hearing it. I don't know what to believe, she muttered, looking down. Brooke wouldn't lie about something like this. And that hit me like a punch to the gut. She didn't know what to believe. After everything we'd been through, she couldn't trust me over Brooke. I stood up, pacing the room. You've known me for 7 years, I said. Do you really think I'd cheat on you? And in a parking lot, of all places? Does that even sound like me? She didn't say a word. Just stared at her hands like they were suddenly the most interesting thing in the world. I need time to think, she finally whispered. The next few days were hell. Chloe barely spoke to me. She moved into the guest room, said she needed space. Every time I tried to talk, she shut me down with some version of, I'm not ready, or, I need more time. Meanwhile, I was stuck in this haze of anger and confusion. I couldn't stop thinking about Brooke. This was exactly the kind of chaos she thrived on. But what really kept me up at night was why. Why go to such extremes? Why make up something so cruel, so destructive? Did she hate me that much? Then again, maybe that wasn't even the real problem. Because the bigger issue, the one that really gutted me, was Chloe's reaction. The fact that she didn't even hesitate. She didn't give me the benefit of the doubt. That said more about our marriage than any lie Brooke could have told. If Chloe trusted Brooke over me, what did that mean for us? 2 weeks later, Chloe packed a bag and walked out. No big scene, no yelling. Just a quiet, I need time to figure things out. She didn't say where she was going. I didn't ask. Honestly, I was too exhausted to fight anymore. The next morning, I got a text from her. I think it's best if we separate for now. I'll have my lawyer send over the paperwork. That was it. No discussion. No chance to explain. Just a text, and a lawyer. It felt like our whole marriage had been tossed in the trash over one ridiculous lie. I didn't even know how to react. Part of me wanted to fight, to prove she was wrong, to make her see what really happened. But another part of me was just done. If she could throw it all away that fast, maybe it wasn't worth saving. Things got worse in the weeks that followed. Word started spreading, about the separation, about the affair. And of course, Brooke made sure her version of the story got around. Mutual friends stopped reaching out. Some gave me awkward looks or avoided eye contact altogether. A few dropped weird little comments like, maybe this is a time to work on yourself. Even my own family started asking soft, hesitant questions. Is there any truth to what they're saying? It was like I was stuck in a nightmare. Every corner I turned, another reminder of how fast people could turn on you. And through all of it, Chloe stayed silent. No calls. No texts. Nothing. Just, gone. At first, I was furious. Angrier than I've ever been in my life. But as the days dragged into weeks, that anger turned into something colder. Harder. If Chloe couldn't trust me enough to even talk, then maybe I didn't need her in my life. I wasn't going to chase after someone who didn't believe in me. Let her have her time. Let her hang out with Brooke. I was done fighting for a marriage where I was always second place to her so-called best friend. If this was how it ended, so be it. But then, 3 months after she left, something happened. It was a Thursday evening. I was at home, eating dinner on the couch, half watching some dumb show and scrolling through my phone, when a text came in from an unknown number. Hi, this is Lindsay. I know Brooke lied about you. Can we talk? I stared at the screen, trying to remember who the hell Lindsay was. The name sounded familiar. I think she was at that party a couple years back, something Chloe dragged me to, with Brooke's whole friend group. But why was she messaging me now? My first instinct was to ignore it. Drama wasn't exactly something I wanted more of. But that message, I know Brooke lied about you, it got my attention. I texted back. What do you mean? What lie? Her response came almost instantly. About the cheating. Brooke admitted she made it up. I think you need to see the proof. The next day, I met her at a little coffee shop downtown. She was already there when I walked in, sitting by the window, fidgeting with her phone. I sat across from her, trying to keep my expectations in check. All right, I said. What's this about? She looked nervous. Thanks for meeting me, she said. I wasn't sure you'd even show up. Yeah, well, here I am. She opened her phone and slid it across the table. I've been friends with Brooke for a long time, she said. But after this? I can't keep quiet anymore. You deserve to know the truth. I took the phone and started reading. It was a text conversation between her and Brooke. And what I saw made my blood run cold. Brooke, OMG, Chloe finally left him. She actually believed me, LOL. Poor Fench. Lindsay, what are you talking about? Brooke, told her I saw him making out with some rando in his car. You should have seen her face. Priceless. Lindsay, wait, are you serious? Why would she do that? She nodded, biting her lip. Then I saw it. A message from Brooke, because he's a controlling jerk and she's too dumb to see it. I had to help her. I felt my stomach drop. My hands were shaking, but I kept scrolling. It only got worse. It's not like their marriage was gonna last anyway, she'd written. Chloe's so gullible, she'll believe anything I tell her. Then Lindsay had replied, this is messed up, Brooke. And Brooke had the audacity to text back, whatever. She's better off without him. And now I don't have to hear about her perfect marriage anymore. Gag. That was it. I stopped reading. I handed the phone back to Lindsay, jaw tight, fists clenched. She really said all that? I asked quietly. Lindsay looked genuinely sorry. Yeah. She bragged about it like it was funny. At first, I thought maybe she was just being petty, but then she started mocking Chloe. Saying she was too naive, too easy to manipulate. That's when I knew I had to say something. I sat there, stunned. Brooke hadn't just lied, she'd deliberately destroyed our marriage and made fun of Chloe while she did it. All because she didn't like me. Or maybe just because she could. Why now? I finally asked. Why tell me this after everything? Lindsay looked down into her coffee. I guess I was scared. Brooke can be intense. But this isn't right. You deserve to know the truth. And honestly, so does Chloe. I took screenshots of the conversation and thanked her for being honest. She didn't have to come forward, but she did. That meant something. Driving home, my mind was racing. I wasn't just angry, I was furious. Brooke was a manipulative, twisted mess of a person. But I was even angrier at Chloe, for falling for it. For not giving me a chance. And yeah, I was mad at myself, too, for not seeing this sooner. But buried underneath all that rage was a weird sense of relief. For months, I'd been stuck wondering if I could have handled things better. If I'd said something different. Done something differently. But now. I had proof. Solid, undeniable proof. I got home and didn't hesitate. I forwarded everything to my lawyer with a quick message, this is what actually happened. Let me know what we can do with it. Then I stared at my phone, debating whether I should text Chloe. Part of me didn't want to. She made her choice. But another part of me, maybe the stubborn part, felt like she deserved to see what her best friend really was. I kept it short. We need to talk. It's important. Her reply came quicker than I expected. What do you want? I have proof that Brooke lied. Can we meet? You need to see this. There was a pause, then. Fine. Tomorrow afternoon. Where? I suggested the park near her apartment. She agreed. That was it. I didn't want her back. That ship had sailed. But I needed to clear my name. That was all. The next afternoon, she showed up. She looked off. Like she hadn't been sleeping. Hoodie, jeans, hair pulled back, no makeup. No trace of the confident, put-together Chloe I used to know. She walked over slowly, arms crossed. What's this about? I didn't say much. Just pulled out my phone, opened the screenshots, and handed it to her. Read this. She took it, looking confused. But as she read, her expression shifted. First confusion, then disbelief, then something else, shock, maybe. Guilt. By the end, her hands were shaking. She lied, she whispered. She really lied. Yeah, I said, my voice flat. She made the whole thing up. Thought it was hilarious, apparently. Chloe sat down on the bench next to me, eyes locked on the ground. I didn't know. I didn't think she'd ever. You didn't think, I cut in, a little sharper than I meant. That's the whole problem. You just believed her. No questions. No conversation. Just, done. She winced. Stayed quiet. Do you know how humiliating this has been? I asked. My friends. My family. People at work. Everyone looked at me like I was scum. All because you trusted her more than me. Tears welled up in her eyes. I thought I was doing the right thing, she whispered. She's been my best friend since college. I didn't think she'd lie like that. Yeah, well, I said, that blind trust just blew up your marriage. She looked at me then, tears running down her face. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I swear, I didn't know. That's the thing, I said, softening just a little. You didn't know because you didn't ask. You didn't even try to believe me. You just ran. The silence between us stretched out. Finally, Chloe spoke again. I'll cut her off, she said quietly. I'll never speak to her again. We can fix this. I'll go to counseling, do whatever it takes. Please. I sighed, rubbing the back of my neck. Part of me wanted to believe her. But deep down, I knew better. I don't think we can fix this, I said finally. It's not just what Brooke did. It's how fast you believed her. How little trust you had in me. That doesn't go away with counseling. Chloe broke down completely, crying into her hands. I was stupid, she sobbed. I should have come to you. I should have asked. Please, just give me one more chance. I shook my head. I'm sorry, Chloe. But this isn't just about forgiveness. It's about trust. And once that's gone, it's almost impossible to get back. She kept crying, and for a split second, I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. But then I thought about all those nights I spent alone, racking my brain, wondering what the hell I could have done differently. All the people who disappeared on me because they believed Brooke's lies. The way I started doubting myself because Chloe, the one person who was supposed to have my back, threw me away like I didn't matter. And just like that, any sympathy I had for her vanished. I think it's best if we both move on, I said as I stood up. I wish things had gone differently. But this is where we are now. Chloe didn't say a word. She just sat there, sobbing into her hands as I walked away. I didn't look back. And for the first time in months, I felt like I was finally taking control of my life again. That night, Chloe sent me a long text. Full of apologies. Begging me to give her another chance. I didn't reply. There was nothing left to say. Sure, Brooke's lie kicked everything off. But the real damage? That was on Chloe. The moment she chose to believe Brooke without even asking me for the truth, that's when our marriage ended. Instead, I forwarded the screenshots to a few mutual friends. No explanation, no commentary. Just the cold, ugly truth in black and white. Didn't take long. My phone lit up within hours. Damn, I'm so sorry, I had no idea. I feel awful for doubting you. Let me know if there's anything I can do to make it right. It felt good, I won't lie. Finally being believed. Finally being seen. But I wasn't looking to rebuild those friendships. If they dropped me that easily, I didn't want them back. As for Brooke, I didn't reach out. What was the point? She'd already shown me who she was. I wasn't about to give her the satisfaction of knowing how deep the damage went. A week later, though, I started hearing things. Word spreads fast. A couple mutuals, probably trying to ease their guilt, kept me in the loop. One day, Sarah called. You're not gonna believe this, she said, practically laughing. Brooke's been blacklisted. Like, no one in the group wants anything to do with her. Apparently, once Lindsay shared those screenshots with a couple more people, the whole story blew up. Brooke tried to play the victim, claimed she was just trying to protect Chloe, that I was controlling or toxic, but nobody bought it anymore. She's spiraling, Sarah said. Posting these dramatic essays online about how she's the real victim and how everyone turned on her. Naturally, I checked her socials, incognito, of course. Sure enough, there it was. Post after post full of self-pity and warped justifications. One even said, I guess people can't handle the truth. I stood up for my friend and now I'm the bad guy. Yeah. Okay. The comments were brutal. People called her out, you didn't help anyone. You ruined a marriage. Another said, try taking accountability for once in your life. Someone even dropped a brutal line, maybe look in the mirror before blaming everyone else. It was satisfying. I won't pretend otherwise. Meanwhile, Chloe wasn't doing much better. She'd moved back in with her parents, and apparently things were rough. Her mom, who always had one eyebrow raised when it came to Brooke, lost it when she found out the truth. A mutual friend told me about a fight Chloe had with her mom. Something like, "You threw away a good man for a liar. How could you be so stupid?" Harsh? Sure. Wrong? Not really. Chloe was trying to piece her life back together, but it wasn't going well. A few people were willing to give her another shot, but most weren't. They'd seen how fast she turned on me, and nobody wanted to be next in line. "She looks miserable," Sarah said one day. "Like she's trying to act like everything's fine, but it's not. You can tell." Then, a few weeks later, Lindsay messaged me out of the blue. "Hey, just thought you'd want to know, Brooke got fired today." Turns out, her reputation finally caught up with her at work. People found out what she'd done, started avoiding her. She'd always stirred up drama at the office, but after this, nobody wanted to deal with her anymore. Her boss eventually let her go. Interpersonal issues. Yeah, no kidding. And honestly, I didn't feel bad. Not even a little. She'd spent years manipulating people. Now she was finally getting hit with the consequences. Life just kept moving forward. Months later, I bumped into Lindsay at a coffee shop. We caught up for a bit, swapped some updates. Then she dropped a little gem. "Chloe reached out to Brooke a few weeks ago." I raised an eyebrow. "You're kidding." "Why?" "Wanted to apologize, apparently. Said she wanted to move past everything." I snorted. "And Brooke?" Laughed in her face. Called her pathetic. Told her she was better off without her. Of course she did. "Figures," I said, shaking my head. "Brooke doesn't know how to take responsibility for anything." Lindsay smirked. "Yeah, well, they're both getting what they deserve." Looking back, I can't say I'm glad it all went down like this. But I am grateful for where I ended up. Brooke and Chloe's toxic little bond. That was a ticking time bomb. I just happened to be the one caught in the blast radius. But in the end, they blew each other up, and I walked away clean. Funny how life works sometimes. Karma doesn't always show up right away. But when it does, it hits hard. Chloe and Brooke learned that the hard way. As for me, I'm moving forward. I've got my peace back. I'm surrounded by people who actually care. And honestly, that's the best revenge I could have ever asked for.